morning. Catherine McNulty here. 4 steps to release guilt in one day. So I'm doing this live today because I want to let you know about an upcoming webinar that I am doing that I want to invite you to, that is going to help you release any guilt that you might be feeling as a result of your loss. We feel guilty. If you've said those words, then you're in the right place. I feel guilty that. What do you feel guilty about? We typically feel guilty for things that we wish we had done, or things that and then we didn't do. We wish we had done them and then we didn't do them, or things that we did do and we wish we hadn't. And so this guilt, when it comes to dealing with our loved ones, with our loss, it can really plague us. And it can be very big, and it can become something that we hold on to for a really long time. And the one thing that I don't want for any of you is to be holding on to guilt for a long time. Sometimes I have people come to me and they have been feeling guilty about a situation that happened with their loved one for years, right? So what are some things? Tell me, what are some of the things that you feel guilty about? Here's a big one. Maybe you were a caregiver and you snapped at your loved one. Maybe you were a caregiver and you weren't there for them all of the time. And the one time when you weren't there, something happened, and so you feel guilty that you weren't there. Maybe you feel guilty because you've experienced a sudden loss and you didn't get to talk to your loved one. And maybe your last words were words that weren't so nice to them. Maybe things were left undone or unsaid. Tell me more about what for you causes the guilt. Maybe it's fundamentally things about, who you were as a person or the way you lived your life. Or, I have some folks that will say, I didn't treat her well enough. I should have been better. I should have been a better daughter, a better spouse, a better child, a better parent. I didn't spend enough time. I feel guilty that I took our relationship for granted. These are all things that can really plague us. And the guilt that you may be experiencing is the most important guilt because it's the one that you're experiencing. So the reason why I'm doing this live is I want to let you know, I want to help you release that guilt. And so I have a webinar that's coming up, and we are going to talk about 4 steps that you can use to release your guilt in a single day. And it is something that with the right mindset, with the right set of skills, you can learn to release the guilt, you can forgive yourself, and you can feel better about the situation that may have happened with your loved one. So I'm super excited about this. It's coming soon. If you are interested in knowing when that is, I want you to either drop a comment below and say, hey, I'm interested. Even better would be to send me your email, and I'll make sure that you get the link to the webinar. It likely is going to be next Tuesday evening, Eastern time. I'm on the East Coast, wherever you are in the world. If you want to join the webinar and then get a replay of it, you can do that as well, but it's always better live. So what we're going to do is we're going to work one-on-one. I'm going to walk through the 4 steps and help you walk through those 4 steps. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take a couple people and we're going to walk them through and help them release the guilt. So if you have guilt that is overwhelming you as it relates to the loss of your loved one, I want you to join me. This is something that you deserve. The grief-inspired mantra number 1 is that I am worthy and deserving of happiness. So I want to tell you right now that you are worthy and deserving of happiness. You deserve to release your guilt, to be free from your guilt, to let it go and replace that guilt with feelings of love, for your loved one, because that's what we all want to be left with. We're going to be holding on to our grief, but we can release our guilt. The pain of grief can lessen. Our grief does not go away, but the pain of our grief can certainly be eased. And there's things like guilt that really get in the way. So let's just take time. Give me an hour and a half of your life. Let's release some of this guilt. I'll give you the tools that you need. And then we can spend more time sitting in the love that we have, and then decide what's next for us. So we want you to move forward, and I want you to be inspired. I want your grief to inspire you to create something new, to be someone new, to look at things differently. It's easy to stay in guilt. It's easy to stay sad and stay stuck. And sometimes we do that. But what I'm saying is that there's a better way. And your grief can inspire you to find that better way. Because first of all, you deserve it. Your loved one deserves it, because they don't want you to be miserable. And let's just do it together. The thing about grief is that you can't do it on your own. And so we're gonna come to that webinar. Please send me an email at griefinspired@gmail.com. I will make sure that you get an invite to that. And we're going to take care of it. Let's just take care of it once and for all, so that we can move on, move forward, and be inspired by our grief.